Welcome to Extra Scale Modelling. For my next build, I'm building this Matchbox Rolls-Royce Phantom Mk1, scale 1 to 32. Now this is the last in the series of my Matchbox builds. I left the bigger one to last. And it's basically like the other two kits that I did, the Bugatti and of course the Mercedes-Benz. So on this one, we have the box art here and the painting guide here. Inside the box, now this box has been opened before, and the parts are in a bit of a mess, but I cleaned them up and primed them. But we'll go into the instructions first. The instructions are your normal affair, as I always like to say. A bit yellowing because of the age. You have your paint markups here, a bit of literature, and the instructions sheet itself, and the back page here. And this was your list of paints going down here. So the sprays are not that many. The sidework and the bonnet here. That's the sachet there. So nice bit of detail on there, but not great. You have the inside of the cab, the seats, the engine block, the transmission driving axles. And the last sprue, main sprue, are the wheels, the cab top, mudguards, doors, and exhaust system, instrument panel. These wheels are not chromed like all the other classic kits in the Matchbox series, which again surprised me. It does have a chrome sprue though, and this is predominantly for the lights, the radiator, and the windscreen frame. We have the clear parts. Now these were in a healthy state when I looked at them. They were so dusty, it was unbelievable. I washed them down, cleaned them up, and they are a little bit scratched as well. Like the rest, this comes with rubber tyres. 6 of these, 2 spare and 4 for the wheels. And the decal sheet. The decal sheet, there's only 4 decals on it. Rolls-Royce Phantom and the number plate. So anyway, let's jump into the build. Well, to begin with, I'm painting the engine block, and that's in Revel Aquacolor 09 Anthracite. We'll also be using this colour for the underside of the vehicle as well. So as you can see, I'm painting on the sprue, and I'm just going over all the areas that need the 09 Anthracite colour. For the top of the cab is Revel Aquacolor 06 Tar Black. Now this black does synthesize sort of cloth material and any textured material that requires a black paint. This is why I use this one. I'm using Tamiya's XF84 Dark Iron, and this is for the suspension spring leaves. I'm using Mr. Hobby H318 Radom, and this is for the side parts of the chairs as well as the side panels of the cab in the inside. If you're having the top up, you don't have to worry about too much accuracy when you're doing this, but it's still nice to put a bit of colour inside. For the seats themselves, I'm using H31 brown. I'm just putting on an undercoat at the moment to make the brown stand out a bit better. Unfortunately, I didn't film putting the brown actually on for some reason, but that's the colour I used. I'm using Revel Aquacolor number 90 silver. This is for the flywheels that you're going to see here that I'm doing, but I'm also using this colour for any brackets, connection points and things like that around the model. And the same with the hubcaps and wheels, Revel Aquacolor 90 silver. For the instrument panel, the base colour is Mr. Hobby 37 wood brown. Then I'm going on to H11 Mr. Hobby flat white for the dials along the instrument panel. Revel Aquacolor 99 aluminium I'm using for some of the drive shafts on the bottom half. I'm also be putting in different colours as well, but the main colour at the moment is the aluminium, and the other colour is Revel Aquacolor 91 steel, and that will be things like drive shafts and any heavy duty rod system that turns. That's the steel colour. For the main body, I'm using Mr. Hobby 327 gloss red. It's quite a deep red colour this. Initially really it should be wine red, but I used that colour on the Mercedes mudguard, so I thought we'd just use a different shade of red for this. So next I'm using Mr. Hobbies H28 metallic metal black, and this is for the mudguards and around the trims of the car. Now I've come to a problem. I didn't notice this before I started. This part is actually broken off. Now I've looked in the box, and it's not in the box, so it's got lost somewhere. You know, it's an okay, it was given to me, and these things happen. It's not a part that you can get away with not showing, so I'm going to have to scratch build it. So what I did was just cut off a little bit of sprue first of all. Using my lighter, just carefully passing it over the flame to soften up the plastic. You don't want it to completely melt, just soft enough to manipulate it. And I'm just bending it down to match the contours of the opposite pin that you can see there. And once that was done, I just shaved off a little bit of the edges to make it the same thickness as the opposite one. Cut it to fit, then it was time to cement it onto the frame. And once I had it on the frame, it was just a simple case of manipulating it into position. Now I had to leave this to dry for some time, because also I didn't want it to come back off again. And once it was dry, I just repainted it. So now it's time to build. So like always, I'm starting off with the engine block, just marrying up the two halves together. Then moving on to the exhaust work and the rocket cover at the top there. It all went together very easily and straightforward. There was no issues. Location points, the recess points were easy enough to locate and fit into. The seats just fit right down into the footwell. There's a couple of little rails there to guide you in. The instrument panel just fits in just underneath the front of the cab. There's a tiny little lip. Before I go any further, I'm using Cledge Clear just to put on the clear parts to bring them up. It does bring any dull bits of clear plastic up like glass. It's really good stuff. Then I had to fit both parts of the radiator, just two halves going together. I painted the face of the radiator H38 steel red metallic from Mr. Hobby. Metallic grey does as well, but I left the sides chrome. Next is the steering wheel drive shaft. The good thing about this one is halfway up there's a bracket, as you can see here, and that's at an angle, so that you don't have to worry about getting the proper angle when you're fitting this. And then once I was in, it was just a matter of popping on the steering wheel. I'm using some Formula 560 canopy glue here to place in the windows. They went in straightforward. Remember, the canopy glue that you use, it will fill in any gaps as well, which is a really good thing. But it didn't have any gapping issues at all with the windows. I'm using Tamiya's X19 Smoke for two of the windows on the front. They sort of stick up to like a visor, and they need to be tinted. This colour is very good for doing that. Also, and the Tamiya green, clear green as well, works really well. But the Smoke I love. It just puts a slight tint on the window. Now it's time to fit the top half to the bottom. Fairly straightforward connections. There's no location points as such, it just fits right on the rim of the base. The footwell and seats fit onto the actual main frame itself before you place in on the cab. You can probably do it the other way around, but I just followed the instructions on this one. There is 4 little location points, but a little bit difficult to find to put them on, but if you do manage to get them on square, then you shouldn't have a problem. And then next to go in is the radiator, that just sits right at the front. And then the engine block goes right behind it, right in between. It can only go in one way, so there's no need to worry if you're putting it in the wrong way. and it's time to make up males. And like the other males on these wheels, I highlighted them with X31 Gold by Tamiya. It just brings up the silver a little bit. Now it's time to prep all the lights, and I'm using canopy glue here again, just putting a liberal amount on the chrome part. It won't affect the chrome part. It's quite it's less abrasive glue. It doesn't give off fumes. It takes a little bit longer to dry, but it's worth it, especially if you're doing chrome as well. So I'm just placing on the windows, or well, the little lens that goes on the light. There's 4 lights to make up, 2 main ones and the little 2 ones that I made up first. They sit actually on the windows themselves. So to put these little lights on the windows, I left the window clear part on the sprue before attaching these. Again, attached them using canopy glue. The reason for this is just easier to handle the piece while you're attaching these very small parts together. And now to make up the front window frame and windows. So the frame is there, and now that the front windows is dry with the little lights on, it's just a simple case of using a bit of canopy glue again and placing them in. Then it's back to the main wheels and putting on the little hubcaps. And now the frame's dry, it's time to put it on into the main unit. It just fits in. We may have to press in a little bit more firmly than normal to place it in, but don't be too hard on it or you'll push it right in, and that can lead you into no end of problems. Next to go in is the 2 top windows that I tinted. Now on the frame there's a little sloping bracket that these rest on, so you shouldn't have any difficulty putting them on. Mine's just fitted perfectly, they just slot right in. And now it's time to put on the cab onto the base unit. It's a little bit tight, this is why it's slightly off camera, to bring it up close to see what I was doing. You may have to open up the cab a little bit just to press it on, and it's an idea to hold it for a few minutes while it's on, so it's going to all come together. Next to go in is the wheel arch or mud guards, and this is where I found out whether I bent the part that I had to scratch build properly, which thankfully I can say that I did. It fitted on really well. Now it's time to put on the 2 decals. Now surprisingly, these decals worked really well. For something that's way over 30 years old, they performed like any modern decal, which was a complete surprise to me. And now it's time to put on the main axles. You have to put the drivetrain on the actual axle before you fit these, but it's just a simple case of marrying the 2 up. The first axle is the one that's going to go on first. The location points are just right in the middle, you can't miss them, and they just sit, the bar just sits into them without any fuss. The suspension leaf just sits on the curved unit that sticks out at the front of the car. It's a little bit tricky to get it square on, but that may be because of the part that I had to scratch build as well, of course. So next is the rear axles and drivetrain. Put in the gearbox section first. That just fits underneath a lip at the bottom before the axle goes onto its location. The exhaust is next. That just fits right alongside the axle, shouldn't give you any difficulty. And there's a couple of covers here at the bottom where for the step foot pad is. I should also point out actually at this stage there's a couple of parts I haven't put on, some tiny little chrome parts. Basically what happened was the carpet monster got them. Every time I picked up a little chrome bit with my tweezers, it just pinged off. It didn't matter whether I used tweezers that had a grip on them or not. So it was just wise to leave the tiny little parts off. I don't like doing it, but in this case I had to. So next to go on the sidewalls and the bonnet or hood. I'm putting just the one sidewall on here because I'm having the bonnet half open. The bonnet itself does come in one piece, but it's a simple case of bending it and just cutting along the seam to cut it in half. So I'm just placing one half on top and then the opposite sidewall goes onto the top of the bonnet, so it's sort of continued up onto the resting state. Next to go on is a couple of little coverings for the footwell or step pad at the ends, just two little triangular pieces that get fitted right at the end. And then on the front I am putting the Rolls-Royce emblem onto the radiator, and then goes on the front lights, which I made up earlier. These go in between the suspension leaf bar and a little gap, and they just place them without any drama. On the rear, you have to, the rear bumper and number plate, you have to make up the lights. It's just two little chrome parts that go on the edge of the framework, as you can see there. Just place one on, time to put the second one on. I'm using Mr. Hobby H3 gloss red for the rear lights, and also using H14 gloss orange, both from Mr. Hobby, and they're just little dots of paint on each light. And then once it was all dry, it's time to fit, and there's just one location point for this to fit on. It's just a simple case pushing it into position, and then that's all done. And then it's just a matter of putting the wheels on. Well, that brings this build to a close now, and indeed the Matchbox series. These three little cars that I built, I really had a great time building them. I haven't done any cars before, so it was a joy to do. I may have to do some more and get a little bit better at them, I think. If you haven't done so already, why don't you check out the other two builds in this series? Also check out the channel. There's quite a few builds on there for people to look at. You may find something that you're interested in. Hit that subscribe button for any upcoming updates and builds. Also, feel free to leave a comment and throw a like on the video. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.